Good morning to all of you. So today we are going to start the second topic, that is trends in pediatrics and pediatric nursing. Now trends in pediatric nursing, in that remarkable changes have occurred in the field of pediatric nursing in recent years due to changing needs of the society, medical and technological advancing, political interests and changing trends within the nursing profession. Okay, so we know that pediatric nursing is a specialty in its own, but that was not a specialty in the initial years. So it was all included along with medical surgical nursing. So pediatric nursing began as a specialty. Now there were great advancements in the field of pediatric nursing. Why? Because there is changing needs of the society. Okay, society also expected that specialized care has to be there in the newborn field, in newborn surgery, etc., etc. So the needs were different. Then medical and technological advancement were there. So when there are medical and technological advancement, this is bound to affect the pediatric nursing as well. Political interest also keeps on changing as the politicians keeps on changing. Each of the political parties, they have their own health agenda. So depending on that, the interests keep on changing. Suppose if you remember my previous class on current status of child health in India, so I was telling you about special newborn care unit, SNCUs, okay, then newborn care units, etc. So that was not the scene some years before. So there were labor room, they were taking care of the newborn, but not specialized care as we see today. So different political parties, they come in, and depending on their health agenda also, newborn care also keeps on changing, and changing trends within the nursing profession. Okay, so nursing profession itself has changes being taking place. So depending on that, pediatric nursing also keeps on changing. Now modern concept of child care is a modern child health nursing is undergoing tremendous advancement, just like in pediatric medicine, pediatric surgery, because pediatric medicine and pediatric surgery is changing. So child health nursing is also changing. So the current trends in the practice are based on researchers that have been that have taken make place in the field of pediatric nursing. Okay, so we have continuous research going in different fields. Pediatric nursing also has researchers being conducted. So that is why child health nursing is also changing. Now, what are the factors responsible for the growth of modern pediatrics? First is progress in the development of field of basic science. See, scientific advancement is going on. It's not stopped. Every day researchers are continuing. So first there is development in the field of basic science. Second is increasing interest in the field of public health. So public health was a neglected entity earlier, but now public health is of great importance. People have come to know that if you can focus your healthcare in the community field, then the patients who are being admitted in the wards, that will be different. The amount of people who are suffering will be different if you focus more on public health. So there is now increasing interest in the field of public health. Then apart from that, you have improved social laws. Okay, so the society also keeps on changing. Different laws related to children also keep of children. So we have now improved social laws. So that has also contributed. Improved health facilities are there. Then emphasis on disease prevention and health promotion. So that is very important. Modern pediatrics has emphasized on disease prevention and health promotion. We shall be studying what you mean by health promotion in the field of child health in the subsequent slide. Now we are focusing more. Suppose if you take example, I will like to explain this with the help of COVID example. Okay, now all of us are facing COVID, so we get numerous news, and to promote our health, people are focusing on immune foods. For example, people are offering turmeric, somebody is telling steam inhalation. So these are all different measures which you can take to promote your health, and that is why prevent the diseases. So such emphasis are there in the field of pediatrics. So the on disease prevention and health promotion. What are these? We shall be learning in subsequent slides. So this is another factor. Then we have separate pediatric hospital. Earlier, separate pediatric hospital was not there. It was all treated along with general ward. But now we have separate pediatric hospitals. One, it is pediatric hospital separate. Now we have numerous divisions in that also. In NICU is different, PICU is different, pediatric wards are different, neonatal wards are different. So that way, pediatric hospital within itself has grown, has different specialization within itself also. Then we have some child welfare programs. Then health this point is repeated. Then growing realization of social needs of children. So again, this was not taken into consideration earlier, but now social needs of children are very important now. Nowadays, people have started to realize the importance of social needs of the children. So that is why it has been advocated that quality time should be spent by the family with the children, because now we are more aware how important is our family as a unit, or interacting with others, etc. So or participating in different social events, maybe birthdays, or maybe some social event, maybe marriages, maybe some child club, all these things. So this is all related to social needs of the children. Then changing attitude of society towards younger members of the society. Earlier people were not focused on children, but now people have realized that children are also members of the society. So there now more importance is given to the needs of the children. Now these are the current trends in pediatric: family centered care, high technology care, evidence based practice, primary nursing, case management, child oriented environment, atraumatic care, then cost containment, nursing process application, and ethics in pediatric nursing. So these are the different points we shall be studying one by one. Now first is family centered care. So family centered care, in this, parents are expert in the child's care and know more about the child. So this we have to keep in mind, that the child who is now admitted in the ward was with the parents for past life, or suppose if it is a 1-year-old child, so for the past 1 year the parents are with the children, okay, or the parents are with that particular child. So they know much better how to take care of the child as compared to us. We may know the medical aspect and nursing aspect, but other aspects parents are experts and they know more of the child. So when they are telling, we should never ignore the information which is given by the parents to us. For this I would like to give an example. In our hospital long back, a mother brought her child to the casualty, and the mother told that the child is not well. So doctor was there in the casualty, so he examined and he told, भाई बच्चे को कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, आप घर लेके चले जाइए. So it was second shift time. So the mother took the family was living in sector 3. So they it was a child of a CSF employee, and actually the issue was in CSF colony. Children were playing and they had a fight. Children had a fight. So one of the fathers kicked this particular child in the abdomen. So that was the issue. So externally there was not injury, but the mother was feeling that the child is not well. So that is why the mother had brought the child to the casualty. So because the doctor told the child is okay, so the mother took home. But again the mother found that the child is not okay. So that way she brought thrice, and by the time but the doctor in the casualty, he was telling that the child is all right, but the mother was repeatedly telling that the child is not all right, okay. And the issue was, by the time the third time the mother brought the child to the hospital, the child was already in shock, and actually it was a case of liver rupture. It was a case of liver rupture, okay. So, this we have to keep in mind the information which is given by the parents or maybe by the mothers about the condition of the child. We should not ignore, because they know more about the child rather than what we know about the child. Okay? So, this we have to keep in mind. The family is also the child's main source of support, providing stability in what can be otherwise a traumatic period in the child life. Suppose if the child is admitted or if the child is sick, so the family is the main source of support. Okay? Otherwise, whenever the child is sick, the child may be at home also, but even if the child gets fever or maybe a cold, maybe a small thing, maybe a big thing, whatever is the issue, but that all causes or that is a traumatic period, not only for the child, but more traumatic for the parents also. And for the child, the family is the main support. So, family centered care is because of all these things. The presence of the family during health related procedures can significantly reduce both the child's and parents' anxiety. So, that is very important. So, whenever some procedure is there in the child involved, it is better to involve the parents in the child care. For example, suppose if you are starting an IV line, you can ask the mother to hold the child. So, that way the child is also comforted, because the mother is inside, and the parents are also comforted that they are with the child during the painful procedure. So, that is so this reduces both the child's anxiety as well as parents' anxiety. Now, when the anxiety of the parents is decreased, so decreased anxiety from the patient as well as family decreases the stress on healthcare workers, positively affecting their ability to provide treatment. So, when the stress of the child is decreased, suppose I will take a simple example, 5E line. If the parents are there or with the child, the stress is less, because the parent can hold the hand or the hold the sari or whatever it is, because the presence itself of the mother or maybe father or maybe grandparents, whoever is taking care of the child, so that will reduce the stress. So, when the stress of parent as well as when the child stress is reduced, so this decreases the stress on healthcare workers, because the child will be cooperating more as compared to others, and this will positively affect the ability to provide treatment. Then parents will be should be well informed about whatever is going, what is to be done, all these things has to be informed to the parents. Keeping the parents well informed and including them, here D is missing, okay, and including them in the procedures can have a dramatic effect of decreasing theirs and the child's stress. So, whatever is the planning, the parents has to be involved and include them in the procedures. Okay. Suppose if you are giving a rights to feeding, we can ask the parents when a demonstrating, you can ask, yes, you hold this syringe, I will pour it, all these things. So, anything which you are doing, you can involve the parents. So, this decreases the child as well as the parent stress. Then children have added comfort in the parents' presence, and the parents are given opportunity to witness the procedures, reducing their questions and concerns. So, whatever when the parents are there, they have the liberty to ask the questions if required, and many questions will be answered because they are themselves witnessing what is going on. Now, what is the philosophy of family centered care? First is, quality care can be provided in an environment that support family integrity and promote psychological health of the family. Okay. So, see, we are not only concerned with care, but we are concerned with quality care. Okay. So, quality care can be provided in an environment that support the family integrity and promote psychological health of the family. Okay. So, a good care can be given in a conducive environment where the family's integrity is maintained, and this also promotes the psychological health, which we are not only concerned with physical health, but we are also concerned with the psychological health, because illness shakes the confidence of the parents. They will be in great stress, and naturally the psychological aspect is also badly affected depending on the sickness of the child. So, by doing this, we can, by involving the family in the care, can promote the psychological health of the family as well. The family centered care provides a holistic approach than simply providing medical and nursing care. Holistic, the whole the a holistic approach is there when we involve the family rather than just providing whatever care is required by the child. Parents know best of the child's needs and are more aware of the child's behavior and habits than the healthcare professionals. That I have already told you. Parents know, that is very, very important. They know about the child much better than what you know about the child. So they are in a best position to provide the need-based care, which will be more acceptable to the child and fulfills his desire for security and comfort, special illness. For example, I will give an example. Suppose if you want to give medicine to the child, if you feed that medicine to the child, suppose if the child is small, the child will not take, the child will throw away, the child will run away from here and there, etc. But better is you give the medicine to the parents or the mother. She will take care, she knows how to give the medicine to the child. So by doing this, this is more acceptable. By doing this, it is more acceptable to the child because the mother is giving. It also fulfills the desire for security and comfort, especially in illness, because the child is very comforted by the fact that the mother is giving medicine. Or you must have seen in wards, in pediatric ward, as soon as the staff nurse comes near the child will be very apprehensive. Some children start crying, some run away, etc., etc. So these it is very good to involve the family. Now there are two basic concepts in family centered care. First is enabling, second is empowering. First we shall learn about enabling. Okay, so enabling provides opportunity for the family to display their current skills while learning and acquiring new skills that are necessary to provide care to the ill children. Okay, now what is enabling? Provides opportunity for the family to display their current skills. What skills do they have to take care of the child? So that has to be the opportunity has to be there so that they can display what they know about the child. Okay, so they may know how, suppose fever is there, they may know how to take the temperature, because now what we face is we have very less illiterate people. Now we have literate people, and now we have a smartphone available in all the hands where people can search everything. They can search for the procedure and find answers for all their questions. So what care do they know? So that has opportunity has to be there to find it. Suppose if the parents are telling, हाँ मुझे बुखार लेना आता है, तो we can ask them, ठीक है एक बार इस बार आप लेके दिखाई, मैं देख लेती हूँ आप सही ले रहे हैं कि नहीं. So this is what you are giving an opportunity to display their current skills, but and at the same time learning and acquiring new skills that are necessary to provide care to their ill children. Okay, for example, the parents know how to take the temperature of the child. Okay, now but at the same time enabling means you provide opportunity for the parents to learn new skills. How do you do that? By teaching them. For example, you have a case of nephrotic syndrome. The parents know how to use a test tube. Okay, so you can teach them how to, they know how to hold the test tube. So this is what they already know. They know how to take a sample of urine. Now what is required is we have to teach them, because they know how to use this. So we can teach them to do a urine test for albumin. Okay, so this is acquiring new knowledge. They know how to hold a test tube, they know how to use the test tube holder, they know how to use the dropper. All these things they already know. Okay, so we can whatever skills they have, we can use we can give opportunity to find out the skills what they have now, and at the same time give opportunity to learn new skills which are beneficial for the child. Now what new skills are required again will depend on the disease condition. Urine test for albumin is required for nephrotic syndrome, but it is not required for the child for physiological jaundice. So naturally different skills which is to be required will depend on the type of illness the child is suffering. All the family members are helped by the healthcare professional to create opportunities and means to utilize their present ability, competence and acquire new skills. Okay. not only the mothers, especially all the family members, because now family is not it's sorry, the mother is not the primary caretaker. The father, maybe grandparents, maybe aunts and uncles who are there with the child, they have to be involved in childcare, and they also should get an opportunity to display what they know, and we can give them opportunity to acquire new skills, so that if you teach only to the mother, then what happens is, if the mother is busy or if the mother becomes sick, then the child will be left out. So it is very important to involve the whole of the family. Now, empowering. Now, what is empowering? Empowerment refers to the ability of the healthcare team to allow families to acquire a sense of control over their family's life. Okay, enabling was you find out what the parents are knowing or the significant others are knowing, and you teach them extra according to the need based care. What is empowering? It refers to the ability of the healthcare team to allow families to acquire a sense of control over their family's life. Now, how do you do that? Suppose now you have a patient with nephrotic syndrome who was admitted for the first time. We know that nephrotic syndrome is a disease for which the disease can reoccur again, and it is a long-term disease. Okay. Now you teach them how to do a urine test for albumin. You teach them what is 1 plus, what is 2 plus, and what is 3 plus. So you can tell them that you can do this urine test. You have to teach them, get a written demonstration, so that they are now confident when to call as 1 plus and 2 plus and 3 plus. Suppose if it is a case of juvenile diabetes mellitus, they will know what is the difference of blue color, green color, yellow color, all these things in Benedict's test. So how does it acquire a sense of control? Because suppose if it is a case of juvenile medication, juvenile diabetes mellitus, the healthcare professional or the nurse can tell ki when the urine becomes yellow, please attend to the diabetic clinic or bring him to the pediatrician. So this is acquiring a sense of control over their family lives. You teach the parents something, and that will be beneficial to have a control. Okay, they will be able to monitor. By having this, they will be by monitoring the urine sugar, they will be able to monitor whether the situation is getting better or worse. Okay, now we have blood sugar kits. The child need not be brought to the hospital every time when the child requires a blood sugar test. Suppose if it is a case of diabetes mellitus, they can check, the family can check blood sugar as well as urine sugar at home, and this provides a control over the situation. So that is empowering. You give that skill to the parents so that they are in better control. They know when to manage with only medicines. They know when to bring the child for prompt treatment. To achieve this empowering, the nurse should first recognize the family's strength and help the family to build on them. You find out what they know, and then you build on them. Suppose if they know how to hold the thermometer, you can help them to gain the skill on how to take the reading from the thermometer. So now we have a digital thermometer, which is very easy to use. But if it is a clinical thermometer, so there you require certain skill, how to hold it properly, how to shake it properly, and to see the mercury requires some amount of skill. Many people are unable to read it properly, but now digital thermometers have reduced all those issues. So to empower the family, one thing to remember is the nurse should know what they know, and based on what they know, you have to build on that. Okay. Then encouraging them to make decision based on what they believe is best, and can give them to regain help them to regain a sense of control. So this is very, very important. So once the parents know how to monitor blood sugar, if the parents know how to monitor urine sugar, if the parents know how to what is 1 plus 2 plus and 3 plus of urine albumin, if the parents know how to count the respiratory rate, if the parents know how to know the chest retractions, we can teach them okay, these are the chest retractions. If the child is having these retractions, don't wait at home, please bring in family. So these are all things which we can teach the families, and this will help them to regain a sense of control, and encouraging them to make decisions based on that. The nurses should help family to make responsible decisions for their child. Okay, so this is responsible decision where urine sugar from blue, if it is becoming green, becoming orange, yellow or orange, please ask the parents, help the parents to decide कि now is the right time to bring the child to the hospital. So this is help the families to make responsible decisions for their child. The nurse should assess their coping abilities and emotional state. That is very important. The parents will be able to take care of the child only if their coping abilities are good and they are in a better emotional state. Referring parents to a parent-to-parent support group may aid in their coping and allow them to discuss concern with other parents in similar circumstances. I will give you an example of thalassemia. Okay, thalassemia again is a long-term disease which requires chelation therapy as well as blood transfusion. Okay, now if you refer the parents to a parent-to-parent support group. Parent-to-parent support group means suppose with reference to thalassemia, you have thalassemia groups which is available in each of the districts. So they have monthly meetings. So what they do is they refer the parents to parent support. All the members who are coming there, they are parents of thalassemia children, so they can interact with each other, especially thalassemia major. Okay, we know that we have thalassemia major and minor. Thalassemia major children, so their parents they can interact with other parents, so they will know how they are coping, how they are managing, from where are they getting the blood, how to know what are those numbers. So all these things. So in different diseases we have such groups available. In abroad this is much more functional. Okay, in India also we have thalassemia group in each of the district hospital, where the thalassemia society, they ensure that the parents meet each other, and this reduces the strength to great extent, and it gives empowerment to the family to take better care of their thalassemic child. So they can discuss concerns with other parents in the similar circumstances. Now, family-centered approach, in nutshell, this is what we do. Recognizes the family as the constant in child's life. We know that family remains constant. Okay, we may come and go, but family remains constant. Next is, family is the expert in care of the child. Family is vital in helping the child recover from illness and injury. That is very, very important. If the child is ill or if the child is injured, the family plays a very important role so that the child can cope with the present situation and can become better early. Family is an essential part of the healthcare team. You are not the only member, but family is an essential part. So that is why we have to involve the family in the healthcare team. Child and family primary focus of the nursing process. Okay, in the nursing process, we not only include the child, but we also include the family, because unless and until we include the family, we are not going to achieve the aim. Needs of the child as well as families are taken into account. Suppose if you are planning to show maybe urine test for albumin, and you are telling ki yes, I will be teaching you at this time, but the mother will tell ki it is better if you teach the father also, or both the parents. So now he has gone to duty, so he will be coming in the evening. I want to learn in the evening time. So whatever is the need of the family as well as the child, so that has to be taken into account. So always parents will be receptive only if it is need based. If it is need based means, suppose teaching Benedict test, that is urine test for sugar, to uh, juvenile diabetes mellitus, they will be receptive. Why? Because they have to learn. Because same thing, if you want to teach to a thalassemic child, it is of no use. So naturally it has to be need based. Then child and family is treated as a unit, and meeting family's needs helps to meet the child needs. Once you meet the need of the family, the child's need also will be you will be able to meet the child's need. Next is enable and empower the family. It is a unique delivery of care that requires treating the family as a whole. We involve the whole family as one. It allows for optimal collaboration, and collaborating with family maximizes each child growth and well-being. Okay, we have to involve the family to as much as possible. So once you do so, the it helps in the proper growth and well-being of the child. Supporting a parent in coping with a child's illness allows them to provide better care for their child and enhances the stability of parent-child relationship. That is very important. See, I have already told you, whenever the child is sick, the parents are many a times they will feel helpless, that they are unable to take care of the child. Many a times, suppose if it is an incident which is taking for the first time, then it is very difficult for the parent to cope with the child illness. But if you support a parent in coping, that is, we can ask the parent, suppose if you have patients with convulsions, one patient is already there, second patient is there, we can facilitate that both the parents can talk with each other. So by supporting the parents in all these ways, by facilitating their interaction with another patient and family who has a similar disease, or if they are asking for some extra time, or if they are asking questions again and again related to how to take care of the child, in whatever way you can support, we have to support. So once the parents are supported, we allow them a better care for their child, and also enhances the stability of parent-child relationship. So once a parent is taking care of the child, so this stabilizes the relationship between the parent and the child. Now, what are the benefits of family-centered care? The nurse has a greater understanding of the family's capabilities of their strength, and family-centered care philosophy can enhance patient and family satisfaction and build on their strengths. So once you involve the family, the child is also satisfied, the family is also satisfied, and once they are satisfied, we can build on the strength. Improve the patient and family outcome. So once parents are involved, the outcome will be much better. Increase the nurse and healthcare satisfaction, and decrease the healthcare cost, because suppose if you take example of juvenile diabetes mellitus, the child requires a daily dose of insulin. If you can teach them insulin, how to give insulin, they can reduce the cost to a great extent. But if it is not taught, then the child has to be brought every time to the child care facility. So that requires transportation charges, wastage of time, etc. So that can be easily managed at home with some basic training. So that way the healthcare costs also can be decreased. Now, second is atraumatic care. What is atraumatic care? Atraumatic care is the philosophy of providing therapeutic care through use of interventions that eliminate or minimize the psychological and physical distress experienced by children and family. Whaley and Wong has told way back in 1995. Okay, so atraumatic is a single word. Traumatic means which involves pain and suffering. So it is a philosophy of therapeutic care by use of interventions by which either we eliminate the psychological or physical stress, we can also minimize it. So all those steps which we take to decrease the psychological and physical distress which is experienced by children and family is called as atraumatic care. So what are the principles? Prevent or minimize physical stressors including pain, discomfort, immobility, sleep deprivation, inability to eat, drink, and changes in elimination. So in principles of atraumatic care, the first thing which we have to keep in mind is prevent or minimize physical stressors like pain, discomfort, immobility, sleep deprivation, inability to eat, drink, and changes in elimination. We have to try to decrease as much as possible. For example, what we usually do is, instead of pricking the child again and again, we wait till all the investigations are done, then we take the sample, so that by taking one sample, all or by doing one veiny puncture, we are able to perform all the tests. But if you don't keep this principle of atraumatic care, then we may prick the child repeatedly. And all of you have worked in pediatric wards, you know how difficult it is to take a sample. Okay, it requires it causes lot of pain to the child also, discomfort, then immobility, sleep deprivation. All these things we have to try to either eliminate, or if it is required, then reduce it to a great extent. Okay, for example, a sleep deprivation. So what you can do is, you can plan your things in such a way that whatever you are doing, you do it together, and then comes. For example, if you want to do bed making, once you go do the bed making, come back, then again you go after some time. So many a times a child will be disturbed. So what you can do is, you can plan, try to plan your things in such a way that you are doing all the procedures which are required within this stipulated time. Next is, avoid or reduce intrusive or painful procedures such as injections, multiple punctures, and urethral catheterization. We have to either avoid, or if it is required, then we try to reduce as much as possible, like injections, multiple punctures, and urethral catheterization. Now we know that most of the drugs which are used in pediatric ward is now IV medications. So that is very good. Earlier, when I was a student, so that was not the case. Almost all the children required IM injections. So that was very, very painful for the child. The child would not cooperate, many issues. But now it is a case of more of IV infections. So that way we reduce the puncture. Once we do IV, it's okay. Rest we do use that particular site to give medications. Multiple punctures are avoided. For that, we make it prominent. Suppose if you're working in a neonatal unit, NICU, so what we have is, we have lights, which we have good lights, which we can focus from below also. So this will help you for a better visualization of the vein, and this will reduce the multiple punctures and catheterization as much as required. Avoid or reduce other kinds of physical distress such as noise, smells, shivering, nausea, vomiting, sleeplessness, restraints, and skill trauma. As much as possible, we have to decrease the noise. Suppose if it is an alarm system, keep it as low as possible, so that you can hear but should not disturb the child. Using smells, all those things, whatever smells, anything which has a bad smell has to be avoided as much as possible. Shivering, nausea, vomiting, all these things has to be reduced. Suppose if it is a cold season, ensure that the child is warm so that shivering is not there, etc. Then is principles of atraumatic care. Control pain via frequent assessment and use of pharmacological and as well as non-pharmacological interventions. We know that pain can be assessed. You must be knowing about Wong-Baker's pain scale, है ना? Wong-Baker का pain scale है जिसमें face का face है, okay? So that can be used. The child may not be able to tell that he is in pain. We may not be able to verbalize, but we can use that pain scale to know that the child is in pain. So for that, to manage pain, we have pharmacological interventions and non-pharmacological interventions. So they can be used so that is pharmacological interventions means giving medications, pain medications. Non-pharmacological interventions can be using music, okay, or can be massaging, can be holding, can be a therapeutic holding the child, etc., etc. So these are all non-pharmacological interventions. Then prevent or minimize parent-child separation. Try to have family and don't try to separate the parents and the child. Next is promote family-centered care. We have already learnt what it is. Then focus on family-centered care, promoting partnerships, empowerment, and enabling. Reduce fears of unknown through education, familiar articles, and decreasing and sorry, they should be decreasing the threat of the environment. Okay, fear of unknown. Many a times people may be fearful of the disease, but if you try to educate them, so that will reduce the fears to a great extent. I will give an example. We know that the birth weight of the children, 10%, 7 to 10% of the birth weight will be reduced in first to 10 days of life. Okay, and now we have electronic weighing machine. So whenever the child is weighed, the parents will be thinking, अरे इसका weight तो 2 kg 750 था फर्स्ट डे में, अभी 2 किलो 600 ग्राम हो गया है. Okay, so this is fear of unknown. This is fear of unknown because parents are not knowing that all newborns have a period of weight loss for initial 7 to 10 days. So we can reduce such fears of unknown through education, familiar articles, and decreasing the threat of the environment. Okay. Next is providing opportunities for control, such as participating in care, attempting to normalize daily schedule, and providing direct suggestions. In atraumatic care, we participate in the direct care and attempt to normalize daily schedule. Normalize daily schedule means even though when the child is hospitalized, a specific time can be there for brushing the teeth, for taking bath, for changing the dress, or for studying. All these things. If the child is at home, the child also needs to study. So this attempts to normalize daily schedule and provide direct suggestions. If the need-based suggestions are there, then the parents also can be involved. Then help the child understand the reason for hospitalization, the procedure. This again will depend on the age. If the child is able to understand, then what you need to tell, why is the child has to be explained why the need for hospitalization is there. Okay. Next is minimize physical stress during procedures. That is very important. Use positions that are comfortable. For example, therapeutic hugging. Suppose if you want to start a procedure, the patient can even sit and have it. Then use distraction method, maybe by using a mobile, maybe some games, maybe some videos, etc., etc. So these are distraction methods. So I will be taking this topic from the next class. So today we have completed only 2 topics. One is family centered care, in which it includes the basic components like enabling and empowerment. The second was atraumatic care. Okay. Now we will be in the next class we shall be studying about child oriented environment. Thank you for the patient listening.